When you choose to earn your degree online from Southern New Hampshire University, you're saying yes to new opportunities and to new adventures. You're saying yes to something big, something you've always wanted to do. If earning your degree is one of your goals this new year, SNHU can help you get there. With low online tuition, no set class times, and multiple term starts per year, you can set the pace that works for you and save money along the way. Visit snhu.edu today to get started.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file, Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Am I doing the right thing with my finances? Am I saving enough? Can I buy a house? Am I paying too much in taxes? Will I be able to retire? Putting a financial plan together feels impossible. What if I told you there was another way? Take Facet's free financial wellness quiz to get your score and a snapshot of your current financial health. Visit facet.com now and discover your financial wellness score today. That's FACET.com.
This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth Incorporated is an SEC registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice.
Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month we're talking about women who found themselves at the center of controversy, whether deserved or not. A woman sits on a Viking ship, eyeing a piece of land. To her back, her fellow countrymen row the boat's heavy oars in rhythm, fighting against the blackened water beneath them. Suddenly, a thin strip of land comes into view. A smirk spreads across her face. The 1,000-mile nautical journey is about to pay off. But what happens when she lands is as mysterious as the rest of her story. Please welcome Freydis Eriksdotter. It's up for debate if Freydis was real. She's mentioned in only 2 historical accounts, both written hundreds of years after she would have lived. The first is the Saga of the Greenlanders, and the other is Eirik the Red's Saga. Both texts are an attempt to write down Nordic oral stories. Freydis' character and storyline are different in both tales, with a few similarities. It's estimated she was born in Iceland around the year 970. Her father was the Viking explorer Eirik the Red. Her brother, or half-brother, was Leif Erikson. Viking culture embraced women in many ways. Women could own property, divorce their husbands, or join them in battle. Viking women could also travel, and the Vikings were extensive explorers. Around the year 1000, Leif returned with news of a new land. He named it Vinland because it was filled with wild grapes and large forests. These were precious resources for people who lived in lands of ice. Freydis soon traveled in her brother's footsteps and joined one of the raids of Vinland. And this is where the accounts split. In Eirik the Red's Saga, Freydis traveled with her husband and crew to Vinland. They soon met the native inhabitants and had a few peaceful interactions until a trade deal went sour. As the story goes, one day the native people arrived at the Viking encampment, howling madly, and attacked Freydis' group. In this battle, Vikings were killed and many began to retreat. Freydis stayed in her cabin until she couldn't stand hearing her countrymen die anymore. She followed her crew towards their boats, but she fell behind. Some accounts say she was sick. Others say she lagged behind because she was far along with a pregnancy. Either way, the indigenous people of Vinland pursued her. She wove through the trees until she stumbled across a dead companion. She knew she needed to act fast to avoid the same fate. Panting, she reached over and grabbed his sword. As she heard her attackers running towards her, she turned around. She ripped off her top, exposing her bare chest. She took the pommel of the sword and banged it against her breast, screaming like a banshee. Her defiance frightened her attackers, and they began to retreat. The leader of her crew commended her bravery. The rest of the Vikings decided to continue their travels, but Freydis stayed in the verdant Vinland. Her countrymen dropped her off at another settlement where she stepped off the ship and out of history. The other account of Freydis is not nearly as honorable. In the Saga of the Greenlanders, Freydis was a haughty woman, strong-willed and ice-cold. She wore men's clothes and wielded weapons. She married her husband for money. In this telling, after Leif discovered Vinland, Freydis approached two traders who were also brothers. She made a pact with them to go to Vinland to procure produce, goods, and wood. She and the two brothers were allowed to bring 30 crew members each for the journey. But Freydis smuggled 5 extra men onto her ship. Once they arrived, relations soured. Freydis swiftly kicked the brothers and their crews out of the existing encampments. One day, she slipped on her husband's cloak and approached the brothers' new camp. She told them she wanted to leave early and demanded she take back their larger ship. The brothers agreed, wanting to be rid of her. Freydis returned to her husband at their settlement. She faked a story that the brothers had harmed her. She leaned in and threatened to divorce him if he didn't kill both brothers and their entire crew. Her husband and crew marched over to the brothers' new encampment and tied up all the men and women. One by one, all of the men were slaughtered as Freydis coldly watched. After all of the men were killed, her husband looked over at the leftover women. He didn't have the heart to kill them and begged Freydis to let them go. Freydis, unmoved, grabbed an axe and killed all of the women herself. Her face, splattered in blood, showed no sign of remorse. When Freydis and her crew returned with a ship brimming with goods, she bribed everyone to keep the murders a secret. Yet Leif still found out. He didn't punish her, but cast an omen on her offspring, and said they would have little prosperity. From then on, there was a stain on Freydis' reputation, and everyone thought ill of her and her husband. She then vanishes from history. There are no other accounts of her life, but whether Freydis was a martyr or a murderer, a warrior or a backstabber, real or legend, she was one to be feared. All month, we're talking about women of controversy. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience domestic abuse in their lifetime, and nearly half of survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina started the Purple Leash Project to help eliminate one of the many barriers domestic abuse survivors face: a lack of pet-friendly domestic violence shelters. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters across the country, so abuse survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to get involved.
Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day presents goodness from the garden. Imagine your home blooming with floral scents. No dirt or grime in sight. That's the power of Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day. With uplifting scents and down-to-earth values, Mrs. Meyer's collection of household products is inspired by the garden. Each scent made with essential oils and other thoughtfully chosen ingredients that don't just smell delightful, they're tough on messes too. When it comes to cleaning, it's more fun if it smells like the garden. So visit mrsmeyers.com now.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids instantly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Sign up for Greenlight today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Oh man, nothing is worse than a bad cold that knocks you down hard. That's why it's convenient to keep the new Theraflu soft chews right at your fingertips. They have the same multi-symptom relief that you get from Theraflu. Not only are they packed with the power of Theraflu in every single bite, but the easy-to-take chewables are simpler than making soup or tea or whatever. So be prepared and grab some new Theraflu soft chews. Fast, anywhere relief by your side. Use as directed.